Welcome back to Dandrew. I'm Drew.
I'm Dan.
And we're doing what the internet was made for today.
Yes.
We're talking about Star Wars Episode 9.
Yes.
How many movies have 9
That's a weird
films?
Ugh.
I guess Marvel, but that's not
really the same thing, no.
But this isn't a very cohesive linear plot line either. I mean, imagine
that's a good point.
Imagine if no one had seen any Star Wars movie, so they did the logical
Actually,
thing.
no, I feel like that's more cohesive then, because at least you could jump in The Force Awakens and just be like, okay, clearly there's history going on here.
You would be a little lost.
If you jumped in at, like, Thor the Dark World, you're going to be really confused.
That's true. Well, it doesn't matter which Marvel movie you watch first. The Dark World will confuse you.
Yes,
regardless.
exactly. Yeah,
But
yeah.
if you did the normal thing and you were like, I'll start with Episode 1.
Yeah.
And you're like, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, these are kind of weird. 4, 5, 6. Okay, those are pretty cool.
Yeah.
7, 8, 9. You're like, man, they really made me think Anakin was more important. But then at the end, I guess he wasn't important at all.
Yeah.
I guess it was mostly just about that Rey character who came in the 7th film.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Okay, it's kind of all over the place. But
it bounces around like a hyperactive child and no Ritalin.
We haven't really talked much about it since we've watched it. A lot of time has passed.
A lot of time.
So we've had some time to let it settle and sink in. What were your first reactions as soon as you got out of the theater?
I was like, all right, it's over. I'm fine with that, basically.
You were done.
I was like, you know what? Okay. It got the hook in me in The Force Awakens, and I was like, man, this is really cool. Then I left The Last Jedi a little bit mad and confused and kind of scared. And
That's
then
an understatement.
And then I got to The Rise of Skywalker. I was like, okay, so they tried to backpedal. Not sure if they really succeeded. But
that was the retcon of retcons.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the retcon trilogy.
It kind of is, yeah.
Everything, I've seen Mahler on YouTube described it as a $4 billion sandbox that Ryan and JJ are fighting over.
Yeah, I want to say something real quick to the people who are, like, if they do see this, the people who are out there like, this is the worst Star Wars movie. How can you say that after Attack of the Clones? With a genuine expression and actually mean that.
No, I would not.
You need to go back and either find Jesus or admit you're wrong. Just stop. This movie is not great, but it's not like the worst travesty I've ever seen. We had the Phantom Menace, guys. Freaking Metachlorians. You really want to get mad at this one?
I don't know if it's just that this is more fresh and I haven't watched the prequels recently, but I feel like the Phantom Menace had more salvageable scenes, like things that we enjoyed about it.
That's fair. Yeah.
Like that's all that Star Wars is really good for at this point, is finding little nuggets
little snippets.
Oh, that's kind of neat. Followed by,
this
makes no sense.
It's 2 collages.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, that's cool. What the hell is this?
Watching Star Wars is like panning for gold.
It's the most bipolar experience out there. You're just like, oh, that was really cool. What did you do? You're just like scared and want to punch something.
Like, there were neat parts to Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, there were.
But
just like I think there were some neat parts to The Last Jedi.
Yeah, there were neat visuals. That's what I will applaud the sequel trilogy for, is the production value.
Wouldn't this technically be the? Oh God, what do you call a third as a sequel? Just the third trilogy?
The trequel? I don't know.
The trequel? I don't freaking know.
Squeakquel.
There you go.
Something like that. But it's like, we had the prequels, we had the originals. Now we have the sequel trilogy. Yeah. These are probably the best combination of practical and CG we've ever had.
Easy.
I think the prequels were pretty bad on a technical level. Just the execution of the CG.
You mean when everything's a green screen, it's not very immersive?
Yeah. Attack of the Clones in particular. That was when animation was not ready. And
no.
You can also, like, completely skip that movie and miss almost nothing.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's kind of the same way in this trilogy.
Kind of, yeah.
If you just remind yourself that, okay, Snoke and Luke Skywalker are gone.
Yeah.
You pretty much are caught up. Mm-hmm. You can just keep going.
Yeah,
because
seriously.
The Last Jedi had so many plot stories that went nowhere, with the whole Finn and Rose thing and the casino and even Poe's story arc. It's just like, or even at this is what's bothered me a lot that no one has really brought up that much, is that when Kylo Ren finds the Emperor.
Yeah.
He's like, I should just kill you.
Yeah.
He's like, but I can give you everything because I have this giant.
I like that he
Starfleet, right?
I want to be like, so did he just like get a bunch of Scotch-Brite pads and like wipe all the rust off of these things, or did he just like force them into existence?
I guess he forced them into existence.
He's like, yes, I actually had the perfect amount of ore and plutonium meant to actually fuel these 1,000 ships for some reason. Don't ask that question. Shut up.
That's why his hands are all crippled. He's been mining so much. He was chipping them away.
This isn't resurrection. This is a cleft palate from working so much.
Oh, the line, I've died before.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what death means, that, you know.
It reminds me of that one bit from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I got better.
Yeah, but like, why does Kylo Ren need a Starfleet? That's my question. At the end of Last Jedi, the entire rebellion was on one ship.
Yeah.
There were 12 people, and Leia was like, we have everything we need, and the First Order was still in full force, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They had an entire
They
army.
were not on the ropes. The Resistance was dead, basically.
There was...
If not on total
much,
life support, with like a BPM of freaking 20.
So, in The Force Awakens, we established New Republic is gone.
Right.
They blew up all those planets.
Uh-huh.
All that's left is that little resistance.
Yep.
They destroyed most of it in Last Jedi. There's only one ship left, the Millennium Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
And then in this movie...
It seems like they have they had just backups somewhere.
They had more people somewhere else.
Well, I liked what Up Is Not Jump did on Twitter, just after the movie, when he saw it. He's like, hey, remember that one part where there was no people to fight the Resistance, but then there was? Hey, remember that one part where no one cared that C-3PO lost all of his memory and no one cared when he got it all back? And then they kept doing that for all kinds of stuff. And I was like, oh yeah.
I wonder if this is an issue of JJ or Disney, one or the other, just desperately trying to appease everybody at the same time.
Probably.
They're like, we want sacrifice, we want death, but at the same time, don't kill them.
Exactly.
Like the Chewbacca thing.
Yeah.
Where she tries to stop Chewie from getting caught and then the ship explodes.
Yeah, I was like, why not kill him? That would have been awesome.
Yeah, I mean, this is the last movie. Who cares? Please don't Disney Plus Chewbacca,
oh, God, no.
I would have... At first, I thought it was kind of cool that Chewie died. I was like, that'd be kind of an interesting, way to end it.
I didn't, because when I watched it, I was like, he's not dead.
Yeah.
I was like, they're not going to kill off Chewbacca. They're not that risky after The Last Jedi. This is not happening.
I can get more immersed in the plot, I guess.
I want to.
I didn't know how Infinity War ended, but you were like, I know how it ends.
Yeah.
I know what happens. And I was like, but Dan, we don't really know.
I was like, no, I know. I can see the future. I'm a psychic.
Yeah. I could take myself out of the logical side of it.
I was like, I have the time stone. I'm seeing across the veil. Yeah.
Right, but I think it's very easy to compare the two, so I'm gonna do it. But it feels like Marvel had a good grasp on what it feels like the people making the Marvel films are just as big of fans as we are of the films.
Oh yeah.
And they know how to make it. Their films are not airtight.
They're not. They're definitely not airtight.
But they understand their characters and they understand what we like about them because
they still have that giddy fanboyism that's going into it. And I think I feel like it's kind of the same in Star Wars, but at the same time, like with the comic books. With Marvel, at least. There's so many iterations of, Spider-Man. Yeah. It could be anything.
Yeah.
And this is just one more thing. It's like, all right, if this thing deviates a little bit from the original source material, that's fine, because Marvel's already done that.
Right,
but with Star Wars, people have been, amping themselves up for something like this for 40 freaking years.
Right.
So when they get their own chance behind the camera, they're like, oh yes, this is going to be my own vision. But the problem is that their own vision becomes canon, and they don't have that separation of everything.
Right.
And Disney's completely nuked most of all the Star Wars media because they were like, okay, this makes it too complicated. All these books, throw it in the trash. They're not canon anymore.
Legends.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a Sith legend.
Exactly. So I think only the movies and the Disney Plus shows and a few of the games and stuff are actually
they get the check mark.
They're the actual timeline.
Yeah.
So it's kind of all right, this is my vision now. And it's
but it doesn't feel like they're trying to cater to what people enjoyed about Star Wars because the whole franchise, even the prequels, acknowledged this. The prequels weren't trying to change this. That Anakin is the chosen one.
Yeah.
He's the one who brings balance to the Force.
Yeah.
And
then he doesn't.
Our stupid minds thought that Vader throwing Palpatine down a shaft and exploding, and then the Death Star exploding, we thought that meant he was dead.
Yeah.
Us silly peasants.
Oh, yeah.
For thinking that. No, actually.
Yeah.
All of that celebration and excitement at the end of Return of the Jedi.
It's totally nullified.
Doesn't matter now, because actually Luke didn't defeat the Emperor, or Anakin didn't bring balance to the Force, because he poorly raised his nephew.
Exactly.
The First Order rose, and they needed Rey to fix it.
Exactly.
So it just kind of takes the trophy away.
It's a very weird position to be in when you're watching one of the most iconic endings to a trilogy ever.
Yeah.
And somehow, because in the movie Clerks, there's one point. This is just a really random aside, but there's one point where one of the characters says that for some reason that thing, like the second Death Star exploding in Return of the Jedi, never sat right with him, and his conclusion to it was because that Death Star wasn't finished. And if you think about it, what average stormtrooper is going to know how to install like plumbing, housing, any of that stuff? They just know how to kill stuff within a 3-mile radius. So they probably had to bring in civilian contractors, and that was the reason why he fell. Yeah, it's a really intricate explanation. You're like, that actually makes a lot of sense. But then you're like, no, it's because the Emperor somehow like force bubbled himself or something like that.
Force bubble.
I want to know, was it the same thing as like was it like that one scene in The Last Jedi where everyone thinks to themselves, oh no, Leia's dead, but she just forced her way back into an airlock? Like, did Emperor Palpatine just force his way to Exegol, a place that apparently requires some special freaking navigational computer? I mean,
The Last Jedi encourages this possibility due to the, you can fly around through space using the Force thing.
Yeah.
But I still think that's stupid.
Yeah. It's really stupid.
We could suspend our disbelief a little bit. I will acknowledge that Star Wars has never been accurate scientifically.
Duh. They have sound in space, for one thing.
That was the first one.
That's the only thing that makes me feel that. I mean, I know that we're not supposed to be applying actual science to this, but
no.
I see.
It's really not sci-fi.
I know it's science fiction fantasy.
It's more of just fantasy fiction.
Yeah, that fantasy fiction.
You can't see lasers be shot. Those are incredibly slow lasers if you can see them.
Yeah.
It's very much comical, and even and some people are like, Disney just wants to sell toys. I'm like, go back and look at the commercials for the originals.
Yeah, they always wanted to sell toys.
Lucasfilm wanted to sell toys even when they hadn't finished 3 films yet.
Do you think every like adult age Star Wars fan really wanted to play Droid Maker for the PC? Yeah. No.
Right.
They have always catered to a very childlike audience.
And look at the holiday special.
And that's not a bad thing.
No, you can do that.
It just is.
But it's very distorted now because you have things like the Emperor where they have to put up seizure warnings on the theater because we're trying to be dark and scary. And we want to take...
When it's Star Wars
to a new level, even though we're going to target it at kids, but it's also scary.
Like, you can... Like, I've said it before, I'm sure, but you can definitely do dark and scary for children. You just have to do it properly.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could say The Rise of Skywalker or anything like that is definitely an example of that, because...
No.
There's a very, very complicated formula to that.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know what The Rise of Skywalker is a good example of anything.
It's a great example of what you do when you have to backtrack like crazy because you got lost in some side quests and there's no like notifications of where you're supposed to go.
Walking out of it made me really wonder what it would have been like if JJ had the whole thing.
Yeah.
I feel like...
That would have made sense.
I feel like he could have had some room to breathe. Because did you get the feeling of the pacing being incredibly fast?
It was extremely fast.
I was noticing it from the first 5 minutes. I was like... Whoa, okay. And I can keep up.
Well, I kept thinking about it, and I was like, okay, so I get it that there's a very limited window of time where they can actually figure out how to stop this freaking galaxy-ending force.
It's only one movie.
The final force. It's like, it's the final force because it's collected in one area, and you're all about to get just attacked into the ground, idiots. But, like... Yeah. I just want to know, like, how small is this galaxy that you could actually be everywhere within a small matter of time? Because I'm like... Again, this probably just goes back to the fantasy element of it. Uh-huh. Like, in actual sci-fi, it at least takes, like, several days shortest to get from one heavily, densely populated area to the next. I mean,
And they have to go to 9 planets, and every planet only has one city on it.
Exactly. Like what all are they doing?
I can't believe there was a 3rd desert planet.
Yeah. What is it with Star Wars and desert planets?
We couldn't go to Tatooine or Jakku. We had to go to another desert planet. And JJ, I think a lot of people criticize him for this. He's a very good visual guy, but he's terrible when it comes to a plot perspective.
I agree. I can see that.
It's kind of like Zack Snyder in that way.
It really is. I was just gonna say,
very, very much a visual.
needs a balance.
It needs a good balance. Don't let JJ write it. Let him direct it.
Just tell him, all right, make pretty pictures, and he can do that.
Like the visual of stormtroopers being on tread bikes.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's really cool that they launch up and they have jetpacks, but we have hover technology. And we've had it for
decades,
90 years in this universe.
Probably like hundreds of years at this point.
Yeah, they've had those little hover bikes that
I'm pretty sure that lightsabers have been around for like 1,000 years in Star Wars canon.
Yeah,
so
you don't need a tread bike.
Yeah, I'm like, why are you using physical wheels?
It doesn't make sense.
Especially where there's freaking crazy quicksand in this desert. I'm like, why would you want to be on the ground ever?
No, you should never make a vehicle with wheels at that point. And why does the quicksand have space beneath it?
Yeah.
How
come it's not just keeping flowing?
I don't. You can ask these questions the whole movie.
You really can.
Honestly. But what more bigger picture I think we should tackle is that what Marvel did with the climax of Endgame was that people started following this because they liked Iron Man. And that was like the core to this universe. So that's how we're going to end it. Complete the arc. Even though we haven't had an Iron Man film, because I know it's not the same thing given Mark Hamill's so much older.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of time has passed between these trilogies.
But still,
there was a way you could honor...
He's a keystone.
Yeah. You could honor the original source material while also adding to it. Because when was Iron Man 3? That was 2013?
That was just after Avengers, so yeah, 2013.
So my point is, Marvel made new stories and new characters and films after the era of the Iron Man trilogy, but they could still honor him and respect him along the way,
and just show different sides of him. I mean, what's the movie count for him up to now? We have him in Civil War, obviously. We have him in all the Avengers. Spider-Man. Both Spider-Man. I think didn't he have cameos in other movies?
I'm sure.
Maybe.
But I'm sure he was around.
He was probably doing something.
Yeah. He was there, and you could still respect it. And then in Endgame, they honored the full closure. It's like, okay, he's gone now, but he went out with a literal bang.
Exactly.
And you showed an arc for his character, because even in the first Avengers, they were like, "You're never the guy to lay yourself down on the wire."
And then he proved that he was.
Yeah. He is the guy to do that. So there's an arc there that can continue.
There's character development,
even if it's not an Iron Man movie. So I know that. With the new trilogy, it can't just be Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, and Leia.
Exactly.
But there's a way you can honor and respect that along the
way. There's a few things I want to say just about some of the Force power scenes.
Okay.
Because there were a few things I really loved. Because
How did you feel about the healing stuff?
I was like, all right, I'm sure... Honestly, if Yoda did that, I wouldn't question it. So I can't really say much about Rey, even though I'm like, I don't know how you have that training, but whatever.
Yeah.
But that one scene where she's on Desert Planet number 3, and Kylo's looking through the Force.
Yeah.
And the second he grabbed the necklace off her and took it with him, I was like I saw it once. I was like, oh, that was freaking cool. I thought to myself, maybe that's one of those focus things that if you really mean it, you could do it or something like that. Just like the Force heal. I don't know.
I could follow it.
The first one time is cool, but then you have a whole lightsaber battle about it. I'm like, okay, you're kind of diminishing the magic now.
It needs to be a little more subtle.
It needs to be way more subtle. You get one.
I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I think Rian Johnson got that better. But in The Last Jedi...
you did something right.
I'm okay with that Force thing of them talking across.
Oh, I like that. I think that was. Cool.
I didn't think that was too.
That makes sense to me. I mean, there's freaking ghosts that come in and play, and they're just like, "I guess I will call down lightning.
Yeah,
strike the tree."
Right. Well, that's the other thing that this film in The Last Jedi ruined is the Force ghosts having way too much power to the point that why can't they just help everyone? in the original trilogy, they were just kind of, they've ascended into...
And they could kind of come around sometimes.
They were in the afterlife, but they could just kind of talk to you. They could give you advice, but Obi-Wan didn't show up in the throne room.
Yeah, he didn't show up like, Palpatine. Hey, bro, I got you.
Yeah, that's not... But now...
Alec Guinness, there's no B-roll of him just like, haha, you can't touch me, Emperor. Or something like that. But now
in these movies, the ghosts can catch lightsabers.
Yeah.
Yoda could knock Luke on the head, and they can call on lightning. It just kind of got too far. But the Skype calling between...
That makes sense.
That makes sense. And the subtlety of it was Kylo looks at his glove, and he's got a little rain on him. Right after talking to Rey, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that was cool." They had a little connection there. But you're right. I think when they start dueling, and you're like, I know who's who anymore.
Visually fantastic, practically in like how the mechanics of it. I'm like, okay, now you're just being showy.
Yeah. Now I was watching the movie, and I was like, wait, did Kylo show up on the ship? Because we had like scenes where he's on the ship fighting her, but apparently he's not there.
And it only takes, like, a freaking random drop of Anakin's helmet to just him be like, oh, that's where she's at. Like, you couldn't figure that out when you were standing there?
How would you feel that Darth Vader's helmet just landed on that planet and it's still there?
Yeah, right?
And then they blew up that planet, so... It's gone now.
Speaking of helmets, I like... Just because that's the only thing I can think about. Just because I was like, oh yeah, they rebuilt Kylo's helmet. I was like, oh yeah, there were knights for some reason. And someone like, I spent entirely too much time on Twitter, but someone said like, me and the homies rolling up for a trilogy and being totally irrelevant the whole time. Like, what were the Knights of Ren? What was the point of them?
Yeah, I honestly, truly believe that there were plans for the Knights of Ren that JJ did not have time for in 9.
And then...
because of Ryan's choices.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Ryan was like, nah, we're not going to pursue that.
Yeah.
I still blame Ryan mostly.
Well, yeah, because... Yeah, of course we do.
A lot of the difficult choices that JJ had to make for 9 were because of Ryan's choices.
I know that someone has said that he doesn't like doing sequels. I'm like, I don't care. Do a sequel properly.
Yeah.
That's not the problem.
Right.
The problem is... It's not that it's a sequel. It's that you didn't follow the first one.
Yes. Exactly. They needed a singular vision for the trilogy.
Yeah.
Like one person's plan.
And there's apparently not enough. There wasn't enough planning going on. It's like, why?
Yeah, you got all the money in the world.
You have you have the blankest of checks.
Yeah.
And you didn't plan anything?
Right. They were like, how's this gonna go? Oh, I don't know. Let's just get talented people, and I'm sure they'll work it out. Because no one argues over Star Wars. So why would these directors argue about it?
How'd you feel about the gay kiss?
I will be honest with you, a lot of people brought it up online, like, we got a gay kiss in Star Wars. I did not see it. I watched the movie and I had no idea what everyone was talking about.
I was honestly, part of me the entire movie, because like Finn apparently had that one thing he wanted to tell Rey.
Yeah, and they never followed up with
that. Because I was really hoping that at the end it was just going to be Finn wants to kiss Poe, and I was like, because the entire time I'm like, you know what? I ship it. They'd be adorable together.
They had a funny relationship.
They had a really funny relationship. I would
have been fine with that.
I was like, he helped him out of the freaking Starkiller base or wherever the hell he was at. They clearly get along well, and he's like, I like my jacket on you, and I was like, yes, Kith.
It would have been, they established Poe's interested in this other gal in this movie. What's her name?
I don't know. It's Kerry Russell.
Kerry Russell's character that had so much screen time. There were a lot of loose ends in this too. So I don't mean to say that it's all Ryan's fault, but there were still a lot of things that I'm like, why did they leave this in?
They could have tied it off a little bit better.
Like Poe meets a girl version of himself. No, Finn. Finn meets a girl version of himself that was a former stormtrooper that was asked to shoot innocent people, and
who's
she didn't
also
do it.
black and British.
Who's also black and British, and they were like, "Wow, you're amazing! I'm so happy to meet you." Moving on. We're never gonna follow up with that.
Seriously,
it's like it's the last movie. I don't think we need to introduce new characters at this point. They never follow up with her, and then at the end, she's like, Lando's with her. Where are you from? I don't know. Let's find out.
Thank you, Deputy App, for telling me I look at 10.
What was that?
Yeah.
What? Where did that go?
Yeah.
Was that a Disney Plus plan or something? What were they?
I don't know.
I have no clue.
I I want to know why exactly the Resistance was so, like, on the ropes in The Last Jedi. If they could literally just call on everyone with a functioning ship and some kind of weapon.
People coming
yeah, seriously.
They were nowhere in the last movie.
They were absolutely non-existent.
And they were
Help! Coming!
Everyone showed up at the last minute, and I still don't know why there were horses involved.
Because space ponies are needed, I guess.
Space ponies.
Honestly, at that point, I was like, you know what? Fine, space ponies are happening. I'm okay with this. Let's just end it already.
Can we just be done now?
Die!
Yeah. And the other thing that did set me off, and I was confused from the very moment I left the theater, was that the climax was anticlimactic, to say the least. Like the Return of the Jedi, I have issues with that movie. I don't think that's a perfect film.
No.
But one of my favorite things about the ending is that turn of Vader. That was like a big arc for the character.
Yeah.
And Luke was about to die. He was on the ropes, and he had an epic fight with Vader and everything. And it was a big, like, relief climactic moment.
And you feel like it finished.
It was like, oh, the closure, and you finally see Vader's face and everything, and he dies, and then it was a big climax. Whereas this was like, the big climax was she has a second lightsaber.
Yeah,
that was the big like Palpatine goes from smiling to fear when Rey pulls out a second lightsaber.
Yeah,
was he not expecting that? Is that the one weakness of the Emperor? Like,
I can take on any one light. Oh my God, you have two!
I never thought this could happen. Two lightsabers.
Ignore the fact that I had Darth Maul use a double-sided one. Bow saber.
He has to keep pushing his lightning, even after it starts blowing his face off.
He's just like, this usually works. I swear.
This has never gone wrong before. I'll just keep using lightning.
This never happens to me.
Right, but
just all of a sudden force lightning impotence.
I'm still confused by what he wanted Rey to do. He was like, strike me down so that the Sith will live in you.
Yeah.
And then she did kill him. So why didn't the Sith live in her? Not important.
I want to know something. So like this whole planet is apparently where all the Sith worship. I'm like, how come the whole congregation isn't toting red lightsabers right now? True. I feel like Palpatine is not all the Sith, because all of them are sitting in the freaking mezzanine.
I'm all the Sith. Who's that?
Yeah,
that's the audience.
That's the Disney boardroom.
That's the Disney boardroom. And whoever they are, they all died. But it was a creepy visual.
It was a very creepy visual.
I'll give it that. It was kind of demonic and it was weird, but I didn't know who they were or why they were there.
This all from the trilogy where everyone's main gripe initially was, why are they doing this? Why does Kylo's lightsaber have a hilt like that?
Yeah.
Don't you wish you could go back to 2015 when that was the most pressing issue?
A simpler time.
Oh, God.
Man, that feels like forever ago.
It really does.
But I really was quite invested with 7. I mean, I know 7 was not original, but I was really curious to see where it was going.
Everyone's like, it's not original. We had original, like you said. It's the prequels.
The prequels were original.
Not always good original is.
Yeah. If you have to go recycled plot, which honestly most movies are recycled anyway.
I mean, there's only like 7 freaking stories that Shakespeare outlined, so every plot's recycled, guys.
It's fine, but
calm down.
Once they start trying to do something else, McMuffinville, where there's MacGuffin, sorry.
There you go.
I was so used to
I was like, is it just the McDonald's planet?
Yeah. Yes, we just have to
How do you get to McMuffinville? You pass McGriddle Lane.
We have to get the thing that will tell us how to get the thing, which will take us to a place.
Yeah.
And this movie did not help the Mary Sue argument either.
No, it didn't.
They didn't try to combat that at all.
It really didn't.
Rey is Jesus at this point. She can defeat everyone and never
Hell,
has
even
any
Jesus
issues.
is probably like, whoa, I want to be like Rey. And it's like, okay, calm, just easy.
He could heal Snape.
At least, like, I won't say it's perfect in The Force Awakens, because I'm like, okay, definitely some of her abilities, I'm like, how? But at least some...
The mind trick thing was very abrupt.
Yeah,
I will admit that.
I was just like, okay, at least some of these things kind of make sense to me. It's like, how would she know how to pilot the Millennium Falcon? Well, she salvages parts from all kinds of ships. She probably has some technical know-how.
Sure.
How does is she a decent shot? Well, she's probably had to fight off Tusken Raiders or whatever Jakku's version of a Tusken Raider is.
Yeah.
Okay, logical.
It could follow.
How does she heal the freaking giant desert worm?
Not important. She healed it. No worries. Moving on. How'd you feel about the very end with her going back to the ranch?
I was just like, wow, no one kept this place up, huh?
Really?
Then I was like, oh, I guess they did kill everyone.
Even if it was the home of Luke Skywalker, who was like savior of the universe for a while.
Yeah.
They didn't want to
You feel like there'd be one person out there like, trinkets!
No, yeah.
Get your official Luke Skywalker commemorative merch!
Wasn't there like a Jedi church built on top of it?
Yeah.
Kind of like how there's churches built on top of...
How come he didn't like put all the knowledge of the Jedi in that little hole?
Yeah. Wouldn't that be worshipped or something?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm sure Anakin was very happy that his lightsaber got buried in sand.
Yeah.
His favorite thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I also was confused when she said Rey Skywalker.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
That's not how last names work.
No, it's not.
You don't get to take them. So I don't...
It's like, I think there's this bit of a legal process in that, even in Star Wars.
Okay, something else was bugging me that no one else was bringing up. Why did we all decide to go with the name Palpatine in Episode 9? Wasn't the Sith term Sidious?
Yeah,
Palpatine was like...
I didn't get that either.
Palpatine was like his persona to cover up that he was a Sith Lord. And when they find out he's a Sith Lord, he's like, oh, he's Lord Sidious.
Yeah.
They throw that... He's Palpatine now. It's like... I thought... Palpatine wasn't a real... Plot holes? There's two... I don't know. That was bothering me, though.
Yeah,
I was
it's very... I didn't think about it until just now, but that's a good point.
Luke Skywalker called him Sidious in Last Jedi.
Yeah.
He even referenced him. He was like, the rise of Lord Sidious. And I was like, so that's not his name? It's actually Palpatine.
Yeah.
Still confused when Palpatine had a child.
Who wanted the freaking toe in the shoes of that thing?
Maybe he...
Who?
Kind of like how Shmi got pregnant. He, like, made some random... many believed to be unnatural. He, like, just impregnated some poor lady.
And evil Jesus baby. Done.
My God. This universe.
It's...
Oh, so many holes, but if you don't think about all of the plot holes, you might have a good time.
It's enjoyable.
We had some fun moments.
Yeah, there's some definitely fun moments.
What did you like about it? We should end on a high note.
I definitely enjoyed some of the, like I said, that scene where swipes a necklace off. I was like, cool. Yeah. I totally buy that you could just like grab stuff from the other side of the galaxy if you're like so in tune with the Force or something like that. Mm-hmm. I'm honestly thinking I just kind of went into the Star Wars movies of this time around just for the production because I was like, I can touch everything. Yeah. It's so cool because it's beautiful.
It does look good.
It looks great.
I like the visuals.
Mm-hmm. And just some of the smaller designs I think are really nice. Like, I always kind of like that streamlined look of the stormtroopers. That's like, cool. But as far as like what I actually would want to go back for, I was like, all right.
Kylo Ren's probably my favorite part.
That's fair.
I really had zero interest in Finn or Poe because they're always just doing something that ends up being meaningless anyway. Because Sith and Jedi.
Yeah, at least Kylo felt like he kind of had a character arc going on.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, so he's always had that pull to the light, and in The Last Jedi, he's really trying to hammer it home, but he can't quite do it. And here, he's still trying to do that, but he realizes, I don't want to be evil.
Right. Yeah, some people were saying he's not consistent because his character keeps going back and forth, but I just saw that as him being torn.
Exactly.
I didn't mind that.
I dug it.
I was like, no, I think he doesn't know what side he wants to be on.
I kind of would... I feel like I would have enjoyed it more if... Like that one scene where he's talking to Han Solo.
That was a neat scene.
I was like, that's cool. Part of me just wants to ask, like, so was that a Force ghost or was he just talking to himself that whole time? Because if it was a Force ghost, I would have been totally fine with that. I don't know how Han would have been able to do that, but maybe Kylo's got some weird BS power where he's like, Dad, what?
I don't know why.
But I liked it.
He didn't look like a Force ghost.
No.
So I think it was just his memory
blue and translucent.
Yeah, it was just a flashback. I don't know. I could follow it. I know what they were going for.
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed it.
They recited the lines right before Han died and everything.
Yep.
I wouldn't have thrown the lightsaber.
It rhymes.
Yeah, I feel like you could have switched without throwing away your cool lightsaber.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like you just tossing it aside your weapon was a really dumb idea.
Yeah. Well,
you know, I mean, the only time you see Rambo throw his rifle on the ground is he's being captured.
Yeah, or he's out of ammo or something.
Yeah, and he has to use it as like a bat.
Right. I would have kept that around even if you switched sides. Yeah. But I mean, let me talk about things. Let me find things I like. I like that there were lightsaber duels.
Yes.
Because there weren't any in the last movie. Nothing happened. There was only one scene where two lightsabers touched, and that was it. There was barely any lightsaber duels, and they were decent. It kind of reminded me of Revenge of the Sith with the lava shooting everywhere, except it was water. It's like a contrasty thing a little bit.
I like that.
I wish there was some more lightsaber diversity. I was kind of getting tired that there was just two blue ones all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I really enjoyed the scene with young Mark Hamill and young Carrie Fisher when they were training, because I feel like that was the best utilization of the de-aging. Because there was no movement, and it was like dark lighting. Yeah. And I think it worked so well. So you couldn't
quite see all the uncanny valley imperfections.
Right. They didn't try to say, hope. You know,
yeah,
it wasn't
like wow. Carrie Fisher's got a really great skincare regime. That's awesome.
Yeah, I like that they just lift up the visor, and I was like, "That's him."
Yeah,
he looks just like he did.
Yeah,
it was perfect. I like that little training scene. Chewie got his medal. I didn't care about that. I liked Palpatine.
Just because he was so insane.
Just the performance of that actor has been great in all the movies he's been in. He's a great actor. Just as he said, "Do it," which is my favorite line in the whole saga.
Memes are dropped.
Memes coming in, and I liked they got him back and they had the epic voice and all that. I did find Palpatine pretty scary out of all the movies. Like
that's fair.
The lighting. It was a little jarring, but it was cool.
Yeah,
you know? It was neat to see. Like I got chills when he said, "I have been every voice you've ever heard inside you," and he did it as
I thought that was pretty,
Palpatine,
that
Snoke,
was interesting. Yeah,
and Vader, all in one line.
I was still questioning how he survived, obviously, but I was just like, all right, this is kind of chilling.
It was in the soundtrack. They had Palpatine's theme. When they come back, I have always liked that theme song of the Emperor. It was very foreboding and scary.
Oh yeah,
they handled the soundtrack well. CG was decent.
Yes.
So there's nuggets in there, you know.
There's good things to say about it. It's just one of those things I feel like you have to watch it one or two more times to really fully appreciate it.
I was pretty confused by the kiss.
Yeah.
I felt like it came out of left field. I was like, was there a romance between
them? I didn't get that either.
I wasn't getting.
You don't remember the romantic part? Please put a shirt on.
No, but
I feel like a hug would have been more appropriate or something like that.
I mean, I liked Adam Driver as a character, but as an actor, but I wouldn't call him as like signature good looking, you know, hunky man that I see everyone wants to make out with.
All I see after, because that one scene in that, what was it, Marriage Story?
Yeah,
the fight he was in.
Yes.
All I can see him now is just this millennium's David Schwimmer.
Yeah, I could see that too. Yeah. I think it was kind of tacked on. That felt a little weird, and I didn't want him to die either.
No.
When Rey died at first, I was like, oh, good. That kind of completes the. Hey, she's not really a Mary Sue if she's dead.
Yeah.
I mean. She died at the end.
At least she sacrificed something.
But no, she couldn't even do that. She had to live through everything, too. How come... That was the other weird moment. Like, so Rey can heal anything without any... Like, they didn't establish...
training or something. Yeah.
Without any training or harm to herself. Right?
Yeah.
Like, when she heals the snake, nothing. She's fine. She's totally fine. But when Kylo Ren tries to heal her,
dead.
He just dies right away. I was like...
Like, at least it would have made... Because I know at least in canon, the Force apparently takes a toll on the body, so I would have been like, okay, if for some reason she just healed that snake and maybe got like a gray streak or something like that. Yeah. Something that visually changes to signify, hey, this does something to you.
Is it just blood out of your nose or something? Like Stranger Things.
I'm pretty sure every time Eleven tries to use telekinesis, she's like onsetting brain cancer.
Yeah, which is a good idea.
It's
for your
logical.
plot.
It makes a lot of sense
because you have a character that's very overpowered, but there's a lot of
consequences to it,
opposed to just Force with no limits. That's the.
They're gonna do a brain scan on 11. It's just all discolored. They're like, what have you been doing exactly?
11 will
push-ups.
Yeah, 11 will die of old age at 35.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he overused her brain or something.
She'll like turn herself into a progeria baby.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So yeah, I mean.
Final thoughts, I guess.
Final thoughts is I'm done with the Skywalkers.
Yeah.
They need to move away from that. I think we need to not have any Star Wars theatrical release for a long time.
Yeah.
They gotta stop.
Give it a lot of time, like 3 decades, please.
I would say you're asking for too much. I'll say 1 decade.
Okay, I'll accept that.
We probably won't get that. I can already tell you we're gonna get an episode 10 within 5 years, probably. Yeah. We're gonna see a concept art of Kylo Ren's lightsaber at the bottom of the ocean, and then some hand coming and picking it up. I don't know why we think that because Palpatine's face got dissolved, he's dead this time. Why are we supposed to believe he's dead now instead of last time? I don't know, but we need to talk about Mandalorian.
We do.
We'll do that in a later video.
Next
probably
video. Probably 5 minutes from now.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you very briefly in the next one. Yes. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.